Well, it is true. We definitely did, in fact, get what we asked for. The product, you could maybe argue a little bit of a different story. In Ames, Iowa, the Cowboys take the loss. So we'll talk about it.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State. Here we are. We're live after the Iowa State game. I don't think you can exactly call it a debacle, but the rotation of madness did cease to exist today, right? And it's it's definitely not a good look, what happened in Ames, Iowa. Statistically speaking, it wasn't necessarily a horrendous performance, but it's one of those situations, once again, that if you have eyeballs, the stats don't exactly tell the story. Now, we all did get what we wanted in terms of Ollie Gordon getting the daggone football, and it amounted to 121 yards. The problem is you could see the sidelines and the fourth quarter, third quarter. It's just not a great look. Not a great look at all. Yeah, it is. It's a show. It's a show, all right. And here's the deal, guys. I'm gonna talk about a lot of things Monday. So today we're just gonna keep it fairly simplistic and talk about this game. But what I can say is what seems to be fairly evident is just like around this time last year, where, the wheels kind of started to fall off, the locker room started having some issues internally, and, a lot of that stuff with Spencer Sanders and some of the other guys that were leaving, trying to get guys to leave with them. Yeah, like all of that was true. And unfortunately, some of them may have been just afraid of what the future situation could potentially look like. But yeah, guys, this is bad. This is worse than I think most people would have anticipated. Me, losing to K-State, that makes sense. It's made sense since the beginning of the season, before the season ever even started. Losing to KU with the way that they're playing offensively, fine. You know what? Okay, I can take that. But this is a game you got to win. Like, this is one of the few games, even if you're driving, if you're the leader of the big ass struggle bus, this is a game you got to have. Like, if you have any shot at getting the 7 W's, you got to have this game. You got to have Cincinnati homecoming. You got to find a way to beat UCF in the bounce house. You got to find a way to take care of Houston at Houston. And maybe taking care of BYU at the end of the season is a plausible option. But, oh, goodness gracious. Yeah. Yeah, this is, overpaid. And here's the deal, guys. I'm intrigued, but also infuriated already to hear Gundy's postgame. Regardless of whatever time that happened. Yeah. Oh, guys, this was unfortunately, dagnabbit, you're trying to get me to spill some of the Monday beans, but this was a make or break game as much as some of us don't want to admit it in the fan base. The trajectory was monumental during this game, right? So now Iowa State's 2-2. They have a little bit of momentum. Are they going to make a run for anything in the Big 12? Probably not even close. But they at least now have the trajectory to do what? To make a bowl game. We've heard 123,000 times, rightfully so, from Gundy, that we're so used to winning as Oklahoma State fans that it's fair that we be upset, and it's good that we have these expectations. And that's all true. But we're not getting any reciprocation. And you can see the dejection. Sorry, I know words are hard for me. On the sidelines. And I know that there's people, pushing out there's no exodus coming type of situation. But here's the thing. Again, we talked a little bit about it Friday. If you take somebody like BP, for example, he already knows that this is it, right? So I don't know what he has to benefit by not just looking at it realistically, right? This is a business now. Some of these guys are going to make business decisions. Maybe not even publicly, right? This is the unfortunate world that we live in. And until the NCAA puts bumpers on the transfers and the NIL, guys, there's third-party people called headhunters. I don't know what you would call it. I ended up working with one, but I didn't know that's exactly what he was doing. He was helping like with some contacts from 7-on-7 tournaments and things of that nature, right? So he knows a lot of people. And then he basically started just letting me know on the side, this is what I do. I help kids get to other places during the season. And every college in the country knows it. Every college in the country has these people that they're very well aware of, that are in the background, that are constantly having conversations with dudes. And so even if it's not this big mass exodus publicly, unfortunately, some of these guys, and it's logical, it's not common sense, it's not conspiracy theory, it's not throwing shade or talking crap either. Some of these guys now are aware that their time at Oklahoma State is about, 7-8 games longer. So, yeah, maybe people aren't going to come out right away and be like, I'm out of here. I hate this place. Can't stand what's happening. Yada, yada, yada. I'm out. Maybe not. But unfortunately, in the world that we live in, guys, again, common sense. There's hundreds of coaches that are licking their chops to be able to get their hands on a handful of our players. Like we all know, Oklahoma State, we've got a handful of NFL guys. And if those guys don't see a good way forward, unfortunately we can't blame them for now making business decisions. Again, if the NCAA would maybe put some bumpers on this stuff, it could help. But again, the dejection on everybody's faces that's all the proof you need. Like if you were to take images of the sidelines in the third and fourth quarter, that is the front cover of any newspaper that has to do with Oklahoma State football in a negative connotation. That's it. And it's unfortunate that that's how people are feeling. Yeah, it's not good. Not good. What is this? Yeah, well, I mean, Jared, obviously it's a good comment. And, Hank, I don't know that we can necessarily argue that. Guys, it's unfortunate that it's visible. We have visible issues, and unfortunately, what is it, right? Attitude is a reflection of leadership. Now, you know what? I'll give you this. That's a pretty decent comment simply because this is now the trajectory of this season does definitely put Chad Weiberg, Oklahoma State's new AD, in a slightly precarious position because he cannot sit idle and watch things go too far. But the Big 12 is getting bigger. Right? And there's talks that it's likely going to get even bigger again. There's going to be a big in my opinion, a big degree of separation, right, from the haves and the have-nots to some degree in the Big 12. And unfortunately, we're riding that line. Yeah, we're riding that line of relevancy. And it doesn't appear that Gundy is engaged. But here's the bright side of this. Whether it's for film purposes, future purposes, reproving, earning a position, saving a red shirt, regardless, like, we need to do what we can to get behind these dudes, because I do hate to say this is the beginning of some really not fun stuff. It is what it is. And I know that there's a lot of people that borderline refuse to see some of the issues, and that's fine. Like, everybody has a prerogative, but at the end of the day, it is about production, not even necessarily always wins and losses, but you have to see not only progress, but progress where it makes a hoot. Now, there's one, guys, I try to have some positives mixing occasionally. One thing I will say that's new from Gundy for the most part is when we got the ball back with like 40-something seconds left before halftime, 90% of the time, Gundy takes that knee, goes into the half, and that's that. I will give some kudos that he finally took his big boy panties out of somebody's purse, put them on, and went down and got some points. Right? So it's like you get these little pieces of, there's some hope. There it is. Followed by madness, absolute madness. And it's almost like, dare you say, we seem a little out of touch from a coaching perspective. There almost seems to be some contention going on. We clearly don't agree on everything. And here's why today sucks the most, right? Because this week the players caught a couple AAA chewings. And again, to some degree, rightfully so, right? Because you hear the comment all the time, it's not about the Jimmies and the Joes, it's about the X's. Or it's not about the X's, it's about Jimmies and Joes. That's true. But we've proven as Oklahoma State, and plenty of other teams have proven, that you can scheme your way around some deficiencies, right? And again, if you go back to the 2011 Dana, Todd Monken, 2010, 2011, and then on 2013, 2014 style of days, what we were doing offensively was 100% to counterbalance the fact that our offensive line just wasn't big enough to hold up for 4 seconds. So what was the objective? Get the ball out within under 3 seconds. Just 1, 2, get it. Go, go, go. Get the ball out of your daggone hand. And it worked. And then we would have the ability to incorporate some of those delayed handoffs to somebody like a Joseph Randall. Very beneficial. But, I mean, you don't see that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, brother man. Like, you see on the sideline, we're not in a good spot. And unfortunately, this is the precise same thing that happened last year at almost the same exact time. And as we have already seen, once you lose a locker room, it's really hard to reel it back in. Oh yeah, the worst part. The worst part of all this is after they all got their butts chewed for a multitude of things this week, they then had a team, like players only, team captain, bring everybody together, different position groups and that type of thing, meeting. And it was we have to go to Ames, Iowa, guys, grab our bootstraps. We're not going to talk to anybody outside. We're not going to listen to anybody from the outside. We're not going to worry about anything from the outside. We're just going to grab our bootstraps and go get this thing done. And then when that doesn't happen, and then you see people just kind of wilt away into the game, you see body language. Oh yeah, there you go. Well, okay, so I'm glad you brought this up. No, I gotta save it for the third segment. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll save it for the third segment. But yeah, you're on to something here. You're on to something here. So statistically, so yeah, this will be a good segue before we get to the third segment. 23-48, 278 yards for Alan Bowman, 2 picks, 2 tutties. All of that statistically is not like too bad, but you're at only 5.8 yards a throw. That's not super productive, right? Or yards against for Rocco Becht. That dude went 27 of 38 for 348, 9.2 per. So that was unfortunately one of the areas of the game that we did not show up. Our third down defense was not great. But when you look at the statistical side of Alan Bowman's performance, although it doesn't look incredibly bad, we all watched it. The poor guy was just backpedaling and backpedaling and backpedaling. Guys, we had designed rollouts against his body into a blitz. Like, why does he get the Spencer Sanders call? Again, we just went over the stats. Alan Bowman didn't statistically play terrible, but we all watched the dude. How many times? Where's my boy OT? Yeah. So hey OT, I got an assignment for you, brother. If you can help me statistically find how many times Alan Bowman actually stood up into the pocket, I'd be surprised if the number was over 6 times. Then I think we could start the over under there at 6. And again, I'm not throwing shade, I'm not talking crap. He didn't look terrible because he dropped some dimes, running the wrong way, throwing off his back foot, somewhat like, he threw some absolute dimes. But we're talking a 5th-year player. Like Corn Dog, his intermediate route, that Taylor Cornelius, former Oklahoma State quarterback, his intermediate route and understanding of what to do, it was always a little suspect. And he would occasionally airmail some, but physiologically, he was not as jacked up as Alan Bowman is, y'all. Somebody's mailing it in, buddy. Somebody somewhere. It's wild. Crawfish. Back it up like a crawdad. All right. Yes. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. No, come on, Jared. Like a couple of those I don't know what we were gonna call them, the oopty doopties. They were pretty. They were in a bucket, you know what I mean? They were a long distance 12-6 curveball. I'll take it. But I swear to you, in my entire life, right? I'm 36, been playing, loving, watching football, going to games since I was 3. I have never seen somebody throw the ball away or ground the ball way more than Alan Bowman in my life. Like, Alan Bowman has grounded the ball and thrown it out of bounds more in the last 2 games than any time in Spencer Sanders' career. It's wild to watch. Well, Leon, I don't even necessarily think it's that per se, right? I would say the biggest frustration offensively is we always coach and call plays and run the system like we're up by 20 all the time, every game, no matter what the score is, no matter what the clock says. We always act like we're up by 20 points. And it's just like the most maddening thing, because people that have nothing to do with O State, they don't give 13 hoots about the Big 12. They don't care. Even random people sitting next to you at the restaurant, when they're like, what are they doing? Like, yeah, right. It is kind of random, isn't it? It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. It was good. Yeah. We had a couple drops. But hey, you know what? Again, bright side, we need to have appreciation, okay, for the next handful of games that we all get to watch. All the Cowboys that we currently love in a Cowboy uniform. Whether it's a 1% chance, 10% chance, or 99% chance that some of these guys are going to leave, it doesn't matter what the percentage is. I just think that the best thing we can do is have some fun watching the things that Ollie Gordon can do with the football. You know, the things some of our wide receivers can do whenever they get the ball in space. Some of the things that our running back room in total can do when they have a little bit more innovation and abilities. So again, are a lot of things still possible? Yeah, technically, but we all know that sometimes some games you just have to have. Some games you just have to have just for everybody to go back to the locker room, breathe a sigh of relief, and take some comfort in the fact that you accomplished some things. And again, statistically, Ollie Gordon goes off for 121 yards, and Bowman technically, chunks it around for 240, 250, 248. On a stat sheet, it doesn't look bad. We had like four receivers with 57 to 60 yards. Not bad. Defensively, we did some cool stuff. We look great oftentimes on first, second down. Third down, that hurt. That hurt. Because I would say that's the first time that Brian Nardo got out, like legit out coached. I don't know, I guess South Alabama. South Alabama, our offense didn't help at all. So maybe you get a baby pass there. But from a defensive perspective, yeah, it's crazy to see people like Colin Oliver and Kendall Daniels run around and do crazy stuff. And then, they get punched in the gut. Well, and that's the irony, bub. Clearly, Gundy would have preferred, right, the easy route. The easy route would have been Allen comes in, wins the job. He's the old guy. He's the veteran in the room, the one that can teach the other guys. And if you notice today, we ran significantly more power packages and running plays that got some of the running game going. And then we got ourselves in a position where we became predictable and had to throw the ball. Obviously, that changes some of the scheme defensively for Iowa State. But are you saying we should or we have people that should? I don't know, bud. You know what? I'll say it's fair. It's fair for both. Nah. I don't know if I go that far. I don't know that we know. Yeah, it's not a good look. Not a good time. But here's the deal. I think we can at least have some faith in Brian Nardo in that defense. Yeah. Yep. You know what, OT Tom? I might leave this one up the rest of the daggone show. So, yeah, where do we go? Dagnab. Damn you, Hank. I don't like it. But, sorry, OT. Hank, if this logo is horrendous to look at. But, yeah, bro, that's it. That's 80% it. Yeah. There you go. Here, I'll put it back up there. What if, Steven, my man, my guy, what if, why would he not? Like, you guys are trying. Can't wait till come on. Well, okay, so it's actually been long enough. I was told that this was like a 90% done deal. But I was told that like almost a month ago, and he still hasn't committed. So I don't know if he maybe just decided not to ride that wave and has since calmed down. But as we've even talked about, guys, some of these guys that were kind of teeter-tottering, they wanted to see what this year looked like. Herein lies some of the bigger problem. Some of these dudes that are teeter-tottering, that are legitimately capable of us getting, they wanted to see what this season looked like, right? Because Gundy, one thing Gundy says all the time that is fair, that is right, that we do understand and appreciate and get and agree with is we are used to winning. We're not used to, okay, terrible season followed by another terrible season. That we're not used to. So this is technically a first. This is a first in the Gundy era. But yeah, guys, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that are just not, it's not good. Not good. Ollie, Presley, Daniel, Oliver. If somebody were to lay a bet, like what would the bet be of, I bet these four are here next year or going next year? Yeah, I'm pretty sure 90% of people would bet that they're probably not here next year at this rate. Man, you already know my perspective, right? The Marcel Aitman comparisons, I think, are 100% legitimate. I do think that the projection for him is phenomenal, but right, everybody sees what Oklahoma State can be, especially from a wide receiver perspective. But let's just call a spade, right? No matter what happens, right, wrong, or indifferent, moving forward with Dunn as an offensive coordinator is not capable of all of the responsibilities. He's just not, right? So next season moving forward, whether it be with Dunn, without Dunn, it doesn't matter. If it's going to be with Dunn needs to take a chill pill for one. And number two, he just needs to focus on wide receivers only. I'm sure after 14, 15 years that even if he took a step down, which I'm not exactly 100% high on that, but if it were to happen, because he does have multiple Blitnikoffs, he's got several NFL wide receivers, but here's the problem. And here you go. I'll give you all a tease for Monday. Stew on this. Oh, come on now. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes he just, to me, feels like he gives up on plays still yet. But anyways, yeah, here's what you're going to chew on until Monday. Why is it that you have players like, your D.D. Westbrooks and your Samaje Perines and your Adrian Petersons, and your Ryan Bruins, how come they're always out on Twitter, whatever, trying to get these high school recruits to commit to OU, right? They're always like, you need to go to OU. Why do we not get that? So that's what I'll let y'all stew on until Monday. Just ponder that. Why does Oklahoma State not get the benefit of, we have 23 Oklahoma State players on active NFL rosters, or that made at least the practice squads. All right, at 23 NFL players. How many of them do you ever see promoting O State and trying to get guys to commit to O State? Ponder that, because that unfortunately will answer a lot of questions that we don't love. Well, and I had this conversation the other day, and somebody mentioned Jalen Warren. Yes, true, but hate to break everybody's bubble. Jalen Warren comes back because he said himself, without Rob Glass and Benny Tonga, he doesn't think he'd ever had a shot of even making the NFL. So it's not and even then, guys, like there's some people that have said that, Gundy wasn't even necessarily like a big fan of Dez jumping up and down, being all crazy on the sideline of the Bedlam game in 2021. It's just weird. It's not exactly normal. There's reasons why. All righty. All righty, guys. So, yeah, I love you. We gotta start coming trimming these down. So 30 minutes, 32 minutes, right around there seems to be a good pocket of comfort zone. So we're gonna have for this. I'll let you stew on that for the weekend. Y'all know the drill. If you need to get a hold of me, give me a holler on Twitter. Otherwise, I love you. God bless. Go Pokes. Still gonna rock the orange. Still gonna bleed orange, because I think most of us just care more about the university. And there does come a point to where you get kicked in the teeth enough that you got to go to a dentist and figure out what the root problem is, so you can root canal that daggone thing. All righty, later, taters.